Well, I'm looking forward to introducing the next company. We're starting off in the Yukon with Terra Christie, with the B, Banyan Gold. Obviously, BYN, by Yukon now, I'm not sure. We were talking about BYD earlier, so BYN, of course, is the ticker. 7 million ounce deposit in the Yukon, just outside of Mayo. And you've announced your exploration program just recently, so I'm curious to learn more. Thank you so much, Tara.
Thank you, Kai. And thank you all for coming today. And Yukon's a really exciting place. I've spent all my career working in Canada's north, or primarily, and I'm really excited about this project. I'm a geological engineer by training. My father's a PhD geologist, so I grew up in this business. And as an engineer, I look at this, you are looking at 7 million ounces. And what I see is really easy, moderate topography. No big mountains, no big lakes, no glaciers. In fact, really low relief. That's great for mine building. And the other real key thing that excites me is you're looking at a road and a power line that goes to the hydroelectric dam that's only 50 kilometers away and is actually connected to the rest of the Yukon grid. So roads, power, and actually even 4 bars on your cell phone if you're standing at our camp there, the world is at your fingertips. That is fabulous infrastructure for a mining project. And we've got a lot of other attributes that I think make this an exceptional project. We made our discovery in 2024. I'll get the remote to work anytime. Maybe not. Might need somebody to advance that. Oh, there we go. Now we're going. Perfect. Gold price, I think it's a really exciting time to be in gold. We've seen some pretty strong moves in the gold price. And I think about that, a little bit to your question, Terence, about being worried about share prices of some of these junior companies which have very low valuations. If you look at just the 21 major producers, gold producers, and look at how much gold they're producing and what the margins are. And most gold companies are using $1,800 to $1,900 in their budgeting. So that's going to give them a $300 to $400 margin over their all-in costs. That actually could be $9 billion. So are they going to be going shopping, or are they going to be making investments? And that goes to your question about, are we going to see some more M&A? We've seen some M&A. Some of them have been more take-unders than take-overs. But that's certainly not why I'm in this business. I'm very excited about what we've built here. And I actually think this is going to be the Yukon's next gold mine. But why? Why does it matter? We've got a mine right down the road to us, which you're going to hear from later this afternoon. And you're going to hear from another very exciting Yukon story this afternoon, Snowline. But we've already got a mine right down the road, which will be a 200,000 ounce producers. There is a lack of production of large-scale, district-scale deposits. Many of the large companies want to make 30 or 40-year investments where they're building a mine that produces for a very long time, and they're making an investment in communities. That's something that we really have that's unique. The efficiency of discovery's really gone down. We've seen some periods where gold prices went up and a lot of money was spent, but there wasn't really anything to show for it at the end. I think you'll see that we've done that exceptionally well, adding ounces for $7 per ounce, which is a pretty good delta to today's gold prices. Assets also have to be in permittable jurisdictions. We've heard a couple other presenters talk about that. So you can advance deposits, so they're in safe jurisdictions where you can actually permit them. So we've got a pretty rare discovery on our hands. When I look at gold investments, and I'm a big investor in Banyan, but also in other gold and mineral companies, these are the kind of key things that I look at. Insider ownership. Does the management team have real skin in the game, and how did they acquire it? What was their cost to acquire it? Who their registry is, what kind of shareholders have made investments, what the treasury is, what the track record of the team is, particularly management, looking for their investment in the community, because that's how you get projects permitted and how you make sure that they operate successfully, a safe jurisdiction, and does it have growth potential and a path to development? And I think that's something you'll see with Banyan. But just as an overview of what I look for, here's our project location. Our main AurMac block here is in the front. It's 173 square kilometers of what we've only explored less than 5% of. You can see Victoria Gold. That's just 25 kilometers as the crow flies. And actually their new Raven and Lynx deposits are 4 kilometers for us just across the valley. We also have another major mine which purchased the silver mine immediately adjacent to us, Hecla, $2 billion plus mining company, 2 potential acquirers right beside us. And these belts of rocks, and this is a belt of rock with this style of mineralization. I guess it's going to Keep going. We see Snowline off to the east, Victoria Gold. We'll try running that again. No. Anyway, video's not going to work for you, but it really does show, if they could try and run it. Is there any support in the back just to run the video? There we go. So here's the belt of rocks that we're in. Snowline, they're off to the east. Victoria Gold beside us. These deposits occur in clusters. They're intrusion-related. We found one. Victoria Gold has one. Snowline has one. We have potential on our Nitra property where we have over 300 square kilometers in this district. And we'll zoom in and see our deposit here. And there you can see the roads and the power lines across our property. That's a huge advantage for permitting projects to have that existing infrastructure. This is very large. That's 5 kilometers across. The power line deposit. Airstrip deposit was what we first found. And here you can see the 3D view. The deepest part of the pit here is only 200 meters, and yet we have a drill hole that shows mineralization down to 650 meters. Yes, the two deposits are probably connected. Airstrip dips underneath power line, and power line are these sheeted veins. In that vein, you see lots of visible gold. And in fact, you can count the veins, and it correlates very strongly with gold. Total resource, 7 million ounces at 0.63. But here you're seeing the 4 million ounces within the deposit at higher cutoff grade of 0.6 and at a 0.9 cutoff, 2.4 million ounces of 1.45. That's the kind of grade that you need to establish a mine. It's been a very rapid discovery in 2019 to 7 million ounces here in 2024. Our team has very successfully added value, going from 900,000 ounce resource in 2020 to 4.2 million and 6.2 million in 2023, and now 7 million ounces. Can we continue to add ounces? Absolutely. We think there's lots of potential for this deposit, both at depth and east and west. So the investment summary, generally, we have the size and scale to be significant. Larger companies and projects that will move into development need to be plus 5 million ounces in the gold space now. Permitting process, it works here. We've got 2 mines that have been permitted right beside us in modern day. That's really important, and my team has tremendous expertise in that. Existing roads and power on the property, hydropower, green power is very important for any mining project moving forward, and having 2 mines beside us sets us up really, really well. And again, we already have 18 million ounces in resources right around us, and these types of districts, when there's discoveries made, generally there are then nodes of development that occur within them. We're in the central part where we've already got a mill beside us and a heap leach mine beside us. There's historic development off to the west where Victoria Gold has their Brewery Creek, which is a brownfield to be redeveloped, and hopefully we'll see some development out to the east as Snowline continues to grow. That's why the Yukon's so excited and so exciting and so well represented at Discovery Day, is we're the jurisdiction right now that really is making new discoveries. So getting right to the point, how are we going to add value this year? We've shown we've added value over the last 5 years. We're doing some internal scoping studies and engineering to really understand the key value drivers and what we need to do to make this an economic project. That's guiding everything that we're doing. That's combined very closely with the metallurgical work that we're doing, and I'll talk a little bit about that without going into too many details. But that's super important because that's how much gold you recover. That goes to your operating costs and your capital costs. And so having the context with the scoping study engineering, to being able to then understand what the metallurgy means and what we need to get to is very important, and it's something we're really focused on. Exploration this year is going to be very strategically focused on combining what we're learning from the engineering and the metallurgy so that we're defining an economic project, and we're focusing the money that we have on the things that are going to add the most value. That's really looking at understanding the higher grade, combining our structural geology with some new geophysics that we're doing, along with understanding where the starter pits from the engineering need to be to help us really highlight and focus on the higher grade areas. And continuing our environmental baseline. Huge advantage we have is the permittability of this project, and that's something that we need to continue to maintain. So we'll start drilling here at the end of the month. Here's just the value creation pathway that we've come on. I became the CEO of this company in 2016. We acquired this asset by option in 2017, and there you can see the resource growth, very, very rapid. It's pretty rare for a project to add ounces that quickly. $7 an ounce, we added 58 ounces ounces for every meter we drilled in the 120,000 ounces that we've drilled to date. Here's our share capital. We started this year with $7 million. That's a pretty strong treasury we've been able to maintain, partly because we have income. When COVID came, we actually put in a whole bunch of additional camp facilities, which we have Hecla down the road, which doesn't quite have enough camp facilities, and other services that we've been able to do. Last year, we made $700,000 in revenue. Right now, we're making about $160,000 per month, which covers our G&A. We're a pretty low G&A company, and it puts us in good stead to make over 700 to maybe up to 1.5 million in revenue this year. Not very many exploration companies can talk about. I don't know why the percentages aren't showing on here, but Victoria Gold has 11.3%, Osisko Development has 4%, Franklin Gold at 9.8%, and Fidelity at 7.4%, and then another 21% of high net worth investors, and a retail around 29%. So great value recognized by Fidelity and Franklin. And in fact, our last financing was in December 2022 with 3 shareholders, Franklin, Fidelity, and Commodity Discovery Fund. So we've managed our treasury well to have got from 2022 to now without doing a financing, and we're still funded for exploration program for this year. There's that financing information. Cormark and Paradigm cover us along with some newsletter writers, but price targets of $1.85 based on their work, and we're trading right now at about 33 cents Canadian. We've got a great team with all the skill sets. You'll hear that in all the presentations. We've really started to focus on getting ourselves towards development, making sure that we're focusing on the right things. We've built our team around that, the mining engineer, capital markets, metallurgical engineer, strong geology, and project development. And myself, I've been working in the Yukon, so I bring, the management, permitting, community, as well as strong technical background. Super important to be doing it right in communities. On the environment side, exceeding best practices. I've run a charity in the Yukon for over 13 years, 100% volunteer. I actually ran it long before I was the president of Banyan or even on the board. We've given out now almost $2.3 million working with First Nations and schools and education. And that gives me credibility in communities. And not only do I know the leaders in the community and involved with the regulators, but I'm involved the day-to-day with the teachers, the educators, the parents, and that's really important for building trust in communities. We have one First Nation group in Canada. There's a lot of First Nation groups, and it's quite a varied landscape. Yukon's quite unique in that we have what we've called settled land claims, and we have one First Nation, which is called a self-governing First Nation, to deal with, which makes it way less complex than many other parts of Canada. They've agreed to the permitting process and have been part of developing it. And so that gives you a bit of a one-window approach and only one Indigenous group that you have to deal with, which is important. And we've got a very, very strong relationship. I actually had my first agreement with them back in 2004. So I've known successive chiefs that have worked in this community because of my long history. Again, less than 5% of our land package has been explored with 7 million ounces. We know this mineralization goes to depth. We know we can continue to expand it, and we have some targets on other parts of the property as well. And we're starting to focus on where the higher grade is. The purple and the red here are the highest grade areas of the deposit. Do we have a starter pit here? That's what we've been doing with the engineering work, trying to understand where you would mine so that you can then focus our exploration work moving forward on defining those areas. Here's just the sensitivity chart for the grade. This is where that 3D visualization of the 2.4 million ounces of 1.45 came from, so you can do your own looking at that. Again, we've been doing our metallurgical work, and we've shown that there are 3 very conventional mining methods which will work potentially for mining this. Similar to Victoria Gold, the recoveries that we've got around 64 to 72. The life of mine recovery at Victoria Gold for a heap leach project is 75. But we also have additional options which are exciting. The conventional CIP-CIL recovers at 91% and gravity and flotation at 84%. And why it's exciting to have optionality is not all mining companies will build one or the other project or have experience with this. And I think this gives us optionality to have 3 projects where which could be our potential recovery methods, which have different footprints, different permitting. While the overall timeline would be the same, you have some different capital costs as well. So I think we have three options. Gravity recovery at 53% is very, very high, and the flotation with a mass pull of less than 4% for the gravity flotation option, and not to baffle, but that means that you only treat 4%. If you put 100 kilograms in, only 4 kilograms of that actually ends up being processed. So pretty low capital cost on that. So we're really focused on the technical details of defining an economic project with the work that we have ongoing, looking at not only increasing those recoveries. That was our first phase. Do we think we can get those numbers higher? Absolutely. Metallurgical work is successive, and we've done a lot of work to establish it, and our plan for this year will add a lot of value. Some of those go right to the IRR. Permitting, there's not very many places. This is North America, so more established permitting process takes a little bit longer, but certainly not very many projects could be permitted in 4 to 5 years like ours. That we really do have the ability to move this forward. The 5th largest open pit resource in North America. That puts us in rare standing, and we think we can continue to move up the chart on that. Where do we stand with our peers? Yeah, we're undervalued, $10 per ounce. Certainly we can add lots of value this year, and in this gold market, it's pretty exciting. We have our Nitra property, lots of historic alluvial mining out there. It's another, we think it could host another AurMac. Haven't done a lot of work out there with the current market, but certainly we're well positioned now. We've really worked hard to strategically position this project for the market. It is a very interesting market with potential M&A. Our project's unique in that we can explore year-round. We'll have lots of catalysts this year from the work that we're doing, and as we get to talk to people about how exciting it is to have a 7 million ounce project in this jurisdiction that's getting a lot of attention. So thank you. Sorry. A couple minutes over.
Well, you have another 42 minutes apparently.
Yeah, so. Sorry about that, guy. A couple technical.
According to the timer. No, fantastic. No, really appreciate it, Tara. Fantastic presentation. Do you have any questions for Tara? I have one for you, Tara.
Yes.
And the 5,000 meters of drilling, how much are you dedicating towards discovery drilling since we're at the Discovery Day?
We haven't finalized that number yet, but there's definitely some of it that's going towards that. We've been really digging into the technical work. We're waiting for some of that new geophysics that we've been doing. We've been doing a 3D geophysical model tied to our geological model, and so we want to get that back before we finalize those holes, and we should have that in the next month or so.
Fantastic. It would be at Nitra, I'm assuming, that drilling?
Oh, no, AurMac as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, fantastic. Awesome. Any other questions for Tara? Otherwise, I will release you for lunch.
Thank you.
And Tara, thank you so much for coming out.